In this video, I'm going to be taking a look at another magazine game from Strategy and Tactics. This one is in S&T number 161. It's called Successors. And in Successors, this is basically Alexander's generals dividing up the kingdom. And I know there is a popular game from, I believe, GMT on this subject, and I think I used to have that game, which has a lot more detailed coverage. This is one of the simplest games that I've seen in Strategy and Tactics, so I wanted to comment about it. It does remind me a lot of Risk. It's not Risk, but it has a lot of similarities in it. It has the map is set up in areas. Of course, this is just concerning the area that Alexander and his generals would have, Alexander's generals would have divided up. But the game starts a lot like Risk. I mean, you have like a die roll for who's first and random selection of home provinces. And so, that kind of falls into, a pattern. It's not the exact historical pattern from the Successors, but there are certain provinces that start with a lot higher income and, generation. So, like Macedonia and another one, Babylon, Egypt is like a very powerful area to start. So that's where the Ptolemies started. So the four players each have their own color. The counter mix is exact same for every player, and you can raise the type of troops in the type of troops that the provinces that you control hold. And so the selection of the initial starting territories is a little bit like how Risk is. Everything is generic like in Risk. There are leaders, but every side has one leader. He can't be killed. He's generic, and he represents whoever was the leader of that faction at the time. And you basically score by at the end of the game the number of the value of the provinces that you control by having an uncontested unit in it. And then whatever your treasury point collections are, you get to count half of that as victory points as well. So it's pretty much simple like that. The combat system and the movement system is very similar to Risk, where although in this you can move, more territories, but when you run into an enemy unit, you have to stop. And then you can fight it out, and the fight is simultaneous combat with die rolls. And depending on the type of unit, you hit on 6s or 5 and 6. So, there's a lot of similarity there. You don't get cards to turn in for troops, but you do collect treasury points based on the value of the provinces that you hold. And so then at the end of the game, everyone counts up the number of provinces they hold, the values of those provinces, and then half their treasury points, and they get a victory point total, and then rank them in order. Other than that, it's a free-for-all game. It has a lot of random events in it. It has 2 random events tables, 11 to 66 tables, that there's for an odd and an even. So you roll a die, and if it's odd, you roll on the odd 11 to 66 chart. If it's an even, you roll on the even 11 to 66. And then within each of those charts, if you roll a 61 to 66, you roll on a chart that an 11 to 66 chart that allows you to pick a random chit that is a unique event that can basically only happen that one time unless you expend it and put it back in the cup. So, there's a lot of events in this game. It causes a lot of chaos. Half the events are good. You get free treasury points. But then others cause rebellions somewhere, or special units that you can get, or different things. And the thing with the event is that you roll for event. Each player rolls for an event when it's his turn. every time. So since there are 4 players on turn 1, you're rolling for an event 4 times. So you're going to get 4 events on turn 1. Same thing on turn 2. So, by the end of the game, you've gotten 40 events. So it adds a lot of flavor, but the events are sort of generic. So the whole game is really generic and bland, but I'll go through a quick overview of my playthrough. So looking at this first picture, we have the opening turn, and it kind of shows the areas of setup. You'll see on the upper left, the blue counters. This represents, I chose it to represent Cassander. And they chose that area because it's a 4-strength area in Macedonia, so it's a decent place to start. Plus, it's off in the corner. And then you will see the pink units, which started in, I believe, North Syria. It's a 3-position place, so it's not overly strong. It's central, so there's a lot of area to go, though, into Asia Minor. So that represents Antigonus, is what I chose. If you look at the bottom left, you've got the yellow units. These are the Ptolemies. And I started them in Egypt, of course, and they were able to obviously expand. And then you see the green units, which I started out in Babylonia, which is a 3-point place there. These represent Seleucus. So that's kind of how it started out. So on the first turn, Cassander expanded into Thrace from Macedonia, just to get the 2 more points coming in. If you look in the pink area, Antigonus went for control, of the Levant area, Phoenicia and Lower Syria. The Ptolemies, starting in Egypt, decided to go west into Libya and, headed toward away from the rest of the players. And then in green, Seleucus started expanding into Assyria and Media and Susa. So that's kind of how turn 1 went in my game. I don't have a picture for turn 2, but Cassander, the blue player, went into Illyria around Greece. The pink player, Antigonus, expanded into Asia Minor, and the Ptolemies expanded to Cyrenaica, and then the Seleucus, the green player, went into Armenia, Caucasus region. This next photo, number 2, shows the blue player representing Cassander, and there was some enemy units that arose, just kind of like a revolting units in Greece. These units are white, so no players really control them, but they do have to be conquered if you want to take the area. So this looks like a great opportunity for Cassander to expand from Macedonia and take control of Greece, which he did. You see the units in that picture. Basically, those are soldiers. They hit on a 5 or a 6. The combat is simultaneous, but the Greeks do have a leader, and that leader gives them a die roll modifier. So one of the units can hit on a 4, 5, or a 6. This next picture continues to show turn 3 with some of the expansion. You can see in the upper left that Cassander did win the battle in Greece and took control of it. And you see in the pink units, these are Antigonus. He is pretty much got control of Asia Minor so far, which he's doing very well. If you look into the Ptolemies in Egypt, they tried to get into Palestine, but you see some revolt happen there. Those are just levies, so those white units in Palestine hit only on a 6. So somebody could dispatch those fairly easily. And then in the green, you see Seleucus, and he's moved into Persia and Parthia. He's also the one that got the event of revolt in Palestine, which kind of wiped out the Ptolemies there. But that is how turn 3 went. On turn 4, this next picture just shows like a little bit of a battle went on between Antigonus and Seleucus in Assyria. And you will see that Antigonus in the pink has more troops and a leader there. And, Assyria was dispatched fairly easily on this turn. Meanwhile, the Seleucus in the green was continuing to expand toward the east. So that's basically what happened. The blue player, Cassander, just collected treasury points at this stage, and that's pretty much what happened. So this next picture, photo 5, is looking at turn 5, and this is an overview. You'll see Cassander in the blue up in the upper left part of the picture. He's just collecting treasury points. I'm not sure that's a good strategy. The pink player got the event storms, so this affects the forces that actually have ships, which is the pink player, which is Antigonus, and the Ptolemies also have ships. The yellow player is Ptolemy. He is just collecting points at this stage. He's not really involved in anything, and has got a ship over in Cyprus, though. And the green continues to expand. This is Seleucus is expanding toward the east. It's kind of shown off map what he's doing. This next photo shows turn 6. Again, the blue player is just kind of lying low and collecting treasury points. The pink player, which is Antigonus, he has got a Pirates Eliminated event. So because he has ships, he gets benefits from that. He gets a couple of treasury points. But also, Ptolemy, the yellow player, has ships, and they get 2 treasury points because of this event. However, the pink player, this is Antigonus, he decided to invade Armenia. And actually, there were only a couple of levies there, so he captured Armenia from the Seleucus player, the green player. And then the yellow player, Ptolemy, basically had a revolt over in Cyrenaica, but that was able to be quashed, so it was really no event. And the green player, Seleucus, didn't really do a whole lot except collect treasury points. Doesn't seem too worried about Armenia at this point. On turn 7, the blue player just collected his points, but the pink player, representing Antigonus, he decided to attack Macedonia. And he had pretty decent force there, but things didn't go well. As shown in this next picture, the blue player rolled 3 6s. So, yeah, that's not so good. So that kind of sent Antigonus back into Asia Minor. This next picture is also turn 7, showing a kind of an overview of the eastern portion. And it's basically showing how Seleucus has been, he's got a defensive position on the western part of his empire, but he is expanding out into Pontus and up in the north next to Caucasus, and he's also going farther east into Bactria. So he's just counting on not having too much trouble in the west. On turn 8, we have an overview photo here. The blue player got an event involving India. Nobody was in India, so it had no effect, but he collected a bunch of points. However, he got invaded. The Cassander's empire got invaded by the pink player, I believe is Antigonus, invaded into Macedonia. This time there was a Syrian victory. So you'll see Greece is now split. So that isn't good for Greece. It's very good for pink because Macedonia is worth 4 points. The Ptolemy player is just kind of minding his own business in Africa and controlling Egypt, being happy with Egypt to Cyrenaica, all the way to the western part of North Africa. And then the green player isn't shown in this picture, but he just collected basically points. This next picture is of turn 9. I believe it's photo 11. And here we're seeing there has been some battling in Macedonia. Both sides suffered a bunch of losses. And it's just a lot of troops are gone now, which, not much changes there. Then the pink player representing Antigonus is just continued to build some troops and maintain his troops and collect as much money as he can. The same thing happened with the Ptolemies in the yellow down in Egypt, although they got a gift on their random events of 2 treasury points. So that puts them up to 43 treasury points, and they don't have a lot to maintain there. And then the random event for the Seleucus player, which is the green player, actually allowed the Phoenicians, which is a Syrian player, Antigonus, to get a free fleet. So that was just as a result of the random event. The game wrapped up on turn 10. Basically, both sides end up losing troops with more fighting in Macedonia, but you'll see the Syrians are still controlling Macedonia. That's not going to be good for the Cassander player, the blue player. There is a rebellion in Rhodes again, so you see there's some soldiers there, which is not overly consequential. Ptolemy received a gift of 2 treasury points, so that turns into 1 victory point from that, so that will help them. And then the Cassander player also got a gift, which will translate into a victory point. This picture is just showing the end position. You'll see that the player that looks in the worst shape is Cassander in the blue. His empire is basically split, though he does control Greece, but not Macedonia. And the Syrian player is doing very well and controls almost all of Asia Minor plus Macedonia. The Ptolemies have North Africa, and then in this last picture, showing Seleucus, which has an empire pretty much from Babylonia east. It's true they have a rogue force in off the Caspian Sea, some cavalry, but they're not really bothering too much, and they're pretty much intact. So all that was really left for me to do at the end is tally up the victory points, and as you might have guessed, pink did the best. This is Antigonus player. He got 45 victory points. Ptolemy did very well also with 37 victory points. Seleucus, which is the green player, you see here, 30 victory points. And Cassander, the blue player that started out in Greece, only 13 victory points. So that's how the game shook out. It's a pretty simple game, but it's for quick and dirty fun. So thank you for watching this video, and I hope you have a great day.